It's easy in Hollywood to dismiss nude-adjacent or daring photo shoots as just another way to grab attention. But this one feels different. It's less about erotica or provocation or scandal, and more about reclaiming narrative. More about someone who has lived in the public eye long enough to know where the pressure is applied, and choosing to peel it away. Jennifer Aniston's career has spanned nearly 4 decades. She rose to global fame in the 1990s as Rachel Green in Friends, a role that came with its share of glossy magazine spreads, red carpet glamour, and immense public scrutiny of appearance, especially from tabloids comparing every wrinkle, every weight fluctuation, every red lip choice. Over time, she's become known not just for her acting, but for her influence on fashion, beauty standards, and what it means to age gracefully under constant scrutiny. We remember the Rachel haircut that started thousands of conversations in hair salons, the glowing skin at gala premieres, the perfect beach waves in summer magazine spreads, all those markers of style, yes, but always with one foot in being picture perfect. This shoot, however, seems to step off that tightrope. It feels less curated for what sells and more honest about what is. The magazine feature, context, and messages. The shoot was part of a high-profile magazine feature, one of those issue-defining interviews where the celebrity opens up not just about the look, but about the philosophy behind it. In this particular piece, Aniston spoke at length about aging, not as a decline, but as a journey. She talked about how beauty standards have shifted, but still often disproportionately favor youth, flawless skin, weightlessness, perfect symmetry. She acknowledged the pressure, the unrelenting expectations, the cycle of image editing, filters, retouching. One line struck many readers, the idea that the camera should capture life, not erase it. She spoke of makeup artists and stylists who made her feel either visible or invisible, depending on whether her true self, her skin, her curves, her fine lines, was allowed to show. She noted how in her younger days, she might have worried obsessively about a stray hair or blemish. Now she finds herself drawn toward authenticity, toward shadows, tone, texture. The editors, too, played a role. The layout of the feature allowed for more than glossy perfection. There were raw photos, unposed moments, behind-the-scenes shots. Perhaps even some images that were more unfiltered than usual. The styling was restrained, no excessive designer logos, no over-embellished gowns, no dramatic backdrops, maybe a soft white linen sheet, muted silks, natural fabrics, lighting that lets skin glow rather than gleam. The overall mood, introspective, serene, soulful. Reaction, internet, fans, and critique. As the feature dropped, social media erupted, not in scandal, but in admiration. Fans praised Aniston for what they saw as courage. Many expressed how refreshing it is to see someone whose career spans decades choosing honesty over airbrushing. Comments ranged from, "You're perfect just as you are," to, "Thank you for showing real skin, real age, real beauty." Some wrote about how this shoot made them reflect differently on their own image insecurities. Others said it elevated the conversation around beauty standards for women over 40, 50, even 60. Because seeing someone you admire embracing age with dignity, vulnerability, confidence can shift what you expect for yourself. Critics, too, mostly responded positively. Fashion commentators noted that this wasn't just a style moment, it was a cultural moment. They pointed out that more and more celebrities are pushing back against heavily edited images, and that Jen's shoot joins a growing tradition of claiming ownership over one's body, image, and story. Of course, not everyone was entirely positive. There were a few detractors who said it was calculated or a publicity move. Some questioned whether the images were truly unedited or whether the rawness was still mediated. Others raised the old arguments. Is this empowering or still voyeuristic? Why it's so much more than fashion? Because while fashion is visual, this shoot carries layers. Identity, ageism, gender, power. Jennifer Aniston isn't just a celebrity who looks great in photos. She's someone who has lived in the media's glare and now has the kind of agency many people dream of, to choose how she wants to be seen. Let's think of the double standard. Young women are expected to fight wrinkles and frailty, to hide any signs of age, to remain flat-stomached and smooth-skinned if they wish to maintain status in fashion, beauty, even in acting roles. As men age, especially in Hollywood, lines and gray hair are often seen as distinguished, as signs of maturity or gravitas. Women have less freedom. So when someone like Aniston steps forward and says, "No more hiding, no more perfection as the only standard," it's a push. It's a reminder that aging is not a flaw, it's not a limitation, but a dimension of being. Also, the idea of vulnerability. The images tell us that vulnerability doesn't mean weakness. On the contrary, it can mean strength. To allow the camera to see you without shields, without metaphorical armor, takes confidence and self-knowing. And that kind of message resonates. Younger women see the possibility of being both celebrated and unvarnished. Older women see permission to be themselves. People of all ages are reminded that self-acceptance isn't a passive thing, it can be a choice. Aniston's history with self-image and public perception. To fully appreciate what this moment represents, it helps to look back at Aniston's history in media. Over the years, she has been subject to the usual scrutiny: magazine covers dissecting weight gain or loss, rumors about cosmetic procedures, comparisons to other actresses, gossip columns that fixate on whether she looks too mature. She's also been outspoken at times. Interviews in which she has addressed aging have typically balanced realism and optimism, recognizing that Hollywood often treats women like products with sell-by dates, while also affirming that life after 40 or 50 can be rich, beautiful, full. A few years ago, she spoke about how roles for women over 40 are lackluster or fewer. She's talked about invisibility in casting. She's also spoken about what it feels like to be compared to idealized images of youth, especially in the era of filters and Instagram. There was also the famous magazine cover some years back where she appeared, as usual, flawless, made up, styled, glamorous. Some people commended it, others said it felt too polished, too distant. So this new shoot feels like a response, in a way, to the accumulation of those moments, an insistence that the polished version is only part of the story. Fashion and aesthetics, what she wore, and how it was done. Let's get into style details, because they matter. The wardrobe was minimal, not just less, but thoughtfully so. Perhaps nude tones or muted shades, creams, beiges, soft taupe, fabrics that flow lightly, silk charmeuse, sheer chiffon, fine cottons, fabrics that catch the skin, allow light through, drape sensuously without feeling overt. Maybe the shoot includes one or two dramatic silhouettes, but even those are uncluttered, long, flowing, no excessive ruffles or tulle. Accessories, if present, are discreet, perhaps a simple gold hoop, a delicate chain, or no accessories at all. Footwear, minimal or absent. Makeup highlights instead of covering, luminous skin, gentle bronze, natural brows, maybe a touch of tint lip, not lipstick. Hair loose or swept back, again, not to distract, but to frame. Lighting plays an essential role. Soft side lighting or gentle diffused light, which accentuates skin texture, fine lines, freckles, pores, without shadowing harshly. Perhaps golden hour type lighting or warm studio light. The photographer's choice, likely someone known for portraits that show soul, not just surface. Retouching is minimal, perhaps limited to blemishes or shadows, not skin smoothing to an airbrushed sheen. The photo layout leaves some room for blank space or negative space, perhaps even some unposed shots where Aniston shifts in posture, laughs, looks away. A reminder she's human, alive, moving, breathing. What this says about aging and celebrity culture. There's a shifting tide in how society views aging, especially for women, and media plays a huge role. For many decades, youth has been idealized. The older you are, the more you're pushed to hide signs of it. Celebrities, especially actresses, often find themselves under pressure to maintain a kind of forever young look: smooth skin, tight figure, glossy hair, wrinkle-free face. Classics like "wear makeup that hides," clothes that flatter but also hide, lighting that erases shadows. And when someone doesn't meet those standards, or refuses to conform, they're judged harshly. But increasingly, there's pushback. More actresses are speaking openly about aging. More campaigns include diverse age representation. More fashion shoots show gray hair, lines, bodies that are less retouched. Audiences are more vocal about wanting authenticity. Social media has a paradox. On one hand, it encourages idealized images. On the other, it gives space for people to speak out when they feel images are manipulated unreasonably. Jennifer Aniston's shoot comes at a moment when authenticity is currency. The public is more skeptical of perfection. There's hunger for what feels real, not only because it feels more relatable, but because it feels brave. And it's especially powerful when someone like Aniston, long admired, long in the limelight, does it. She has influence. She has seen how idealization works from inside. When she steps toward vulnerability, many people take note, and more importantly, many people feel permission to do likewise.